Hey everyone, welcome back to the Plant-Based Theory. Today we're going to talk about how to fix our kids, aka the future of our existence. Alright, good to see you again. Today we're going to talk about how to fix our kids. I'm making this a two-part series because there's a lot to talk about and I don't want to keep you here for an hour. So today's going to be mainly about the first step that we can take towards saving our kids, which again is very important because they are our future. If we don't provide them with the tools they need to survive, then this is going to be a perpetual cycle of death, disease, and misery. And hey, who wants that? And the truth is, a lot of parents or providers, adults, etc., will often recognize that they need to look after their health or make some changes, and they try to do that, and they don't do the same for their kids. Some people do, but a lot of people don't, and they unfortunately set their kids up for failure. And again, I'm not playing the blame game here. My intention is to not make people feel bad, so please continue watching because I want to provide a solution to the problem. So as we know, the first stage to any problem is denial. We need to recognize that we screwed our kids up. We can play the blame game. We can say, you know what, it's because of all the commercials and junk food that's out there, or you know, my mom or dad taught me to eat this way, or my doctor said to go eat this. And playing the blame game doesn't get us anywhere, so I don't care whose fault it is. I don't want to say it's anyone's fault. Regardless, we screwed them up, we can unscrew them. That's a term, right? Because what it boils down to is we give them junk that isn't meant to be put in their mouths. We give them habits that lend to sedentary lifestyles, and then we pump them full of pills when their bodies start to fail. Seems a little backwards, doesn't it? So what we're seeing is overweight kids, obese kids. There are kids in primary school who have heart disease, diabetes, and then there's asthma and allergies and ADD and ADHD and depression and increased suicide rates and behavior disorders. You name it. Our kids are just becoming angry disease pill poppers. The majority of them. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but the majority of kids these days take pills, have some sort of ailment going on, whether it's something small like asthma, allergies, or mood swings. And then there's other kids battling things like severe depression and anxiety disorders and, like I said, heart disease. Kids who are under the age of 10 having heart disease. Just because your kid is slim or athletic does not mean they don't have heart disease, okay? There's parents out there who are like, oh, my kid's fine. He doesn't have heart disease. He's not overweight. Size does not determine your health status. You cannot say that your child is fine if you don't know your child is fine. If your child eats the standard American diet or anything close to it, you know, junk food and sodas and lunch meats and all of these like foods that are intentionally made for kids with cute commercials and puppies on the side of the packaging, if they eat any of that stuff, you have to assume that something is wrong with their body because their body was not meant to have that stuff inside of it. And eventually it will catch up with them. So, not trying to use scare tactics here, but this is serious. I care a lot about getting people healthy, and if our kids are our future, then we've got to start there. Speaking of starting there, why not have them drink something like hibiscus tea instead of soda? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, my kids would never drink that. And you know what? That might be their reaction, but it's up to you to decide what kind of habits they have. Because if you think it's extreme to try to get your child to drink hibiscus tea, I say it's extreme to pump your kid full of pills and let them to be diseased and not try to fix the underlying problem. That to me is extreme. So here's what I propose. Simple. First, you need to talk to your doctor. Most kids have a pediatrician or a family doctor. Talk to them, say, you know what? I want to find the underlying problem to why my kid has allergies, asthma, diabetes, why they're overweight, etc., etc., etc. I don't want to just pump them full of pills. Step one. Side note, if your doctor's not willing to listen or do this, find a new doctor. I mean it, because your doctor should want to find the underlying issue. If they don't and they just want to pump your kid full of pills, they are not the right doctor for you. We learned about underlying problems back in Theory 11 if you need a refresher. Step two, do a blood test. That's it. Do a blood test. Find out what your kid is lacking in terms of nutrients or what their hormone levels are, what their thyroid is doing. And then, hey, you get the results back and they are low in, you know, these 3 nutrients and this hormone hormone they're high in, there's your answer. Go find a way, work with your doctor. If your doctor's not willing to work with you, find someone who's willing to work with you, or just get on Google. What foods have these nutrients? Again, it's in my book if you just want to read a book about where to find the nutrients. And then you find the nutrients and you work with your child to get them full of those nutrients. If you can fix those nutrient deficiencies, you will definitely see some, if not all, of their problems resolved. Now, I'm going to take a step to the side again, and I say this in every video, but do I think that, fulfilling your nutrition requirements solves every single problem on this planet? No, of course not. Do I think that the majority of our health problems are caused by nutrient deficiencies? Yes, I do. So if that's the case, and we can fulfill those nutrient deficiencies and top everything up where it's supposed to be and get our bodies to run properly, then we will see all these things either resolve or at least improve, hopefully just disappear. Okay, back to the kids. So you've done the test, you find out that they are severely deficient in 3 nutrients. You fulfill those nutrients requirements by finding the best whole healthy plant foods that you can, right? We learned about those food groups. They are plant foods, processed foods, animal foods, and you always want to try to go for the whole plant foods if you can, because they provide the most powerful nutrients. Yes, your kids might not want that, but hey, this is all about taking control here. So take control. It's your kids' health. It's your kids' future. We need to do this to turn things around. And then what do we see? We see a reduction in obesity, which is directly related to diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. We see a reduction in asthma. We see a reduction in allergies. We see a reduction in behavior disorders. We see a reduction in ADD and ADHD. We see less depression and anxiety disorders, and a reduction in prescription medications, and a reduction in side effects that come from those prescription medications. And then we start to see increases in athletic performance, in academic performance, in overall health and wellness. We see more energy from them. We see them being able to concentrate better in class. We see less sick days. We see improved sleep habits and behavior patterns. And we see a major improvement in mental health and suicide rate, which is a can of worms with me because there are a lot of kids right now doing some silly things out there. And I think that if we can get them happy and healthy, then the incidence of school shootings will go down, juvenile crime rates will go down, and us parents will be able to breathe easier. We won't have these kids who are running around medicated with behavior problems, driving us crazy. Imagine if we raised a generation like that. I know! And imagine how much money this would save. It's a choice, it really is. I mean, do we really want to raise a generation of overweight, diseased pill poppers? Or do we want to raise energy-filled powerhouses who are like ready to conquer the world and sort all the crap out that we've destroyed? I would think we'd want to raise the latter. Again, start by talking to your doctor. If your kid is on any sort of medication whatsoever and you're interested in finding the underlying cause, if there is one, there might not be, but if there is, it's not very hard to go take a blood test and find out what their nutrient levels are, what their hormones are doing, what their thyroid's doing. A lot of these things, doctors will say, oh, that's an adult problem. It's not anymore. Our kids are having the same diseases that used to just show up in adults because that's how much we're screwing them up. Enough is enough. Go to your doctor, have the tests done. If you need help, with those tests afterwards, I am absolutely willing to help you find, at least nutritionally, where to go from there. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. We can do this! Let's put our capes on and save the world. Who's with me? Anyway, once again, I hope you learned something today. I hope your kids are going to learn something from this. Tell your friends what you learned. If you are a YouTube user, don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you get the notifications. And I will see you for part 2 of this segment shortly. Toodles!